What if One Piece wasn't just a really long anime, but a full D&D one-shot your table could play tonight? Today we're brewing One Piece into a complete one-shot, breaking down the design, the drama, and the decisions that make it work at the table. Ever wonder how to play One Piece in D&D? We'll show you how to do it. After all, this is how we brew it.
You enter a crowded tavern, glowing with firelight, where conversations are loud and intentions are questionable. Can I walk over and talk to the hot barmaid? A barmaid wipes a glass. She looks busy, so roll persuasion. That's a 5. Absolutely not. New angle, I compliment her eyes. Okay, roll again, I guess. That's a 3. Please, can you stop? 3rd time's the charm. Natural 1. Are you thirsty? Then try Cozy Cottage by D&T for social counters and emotional damage. When your friend just won't stop being thirsty, use code TSP, save 15% and support thy staff of power. D&T, drink responsibly. Or don't. I'm not your dungeon master.
Homebrew is where the heart is. It's where dungeon masters, murder hobos, dice goblins, and chaos gremlins come together to turn big ideas into unforgettable adventures. So how do you take that spark, a setting, a villain, a mechanic, and turn it into something that actually works at the table? It's simple. We brew it. We've got 6 flavorful categories to walk through designed to help you build campaigns that capture the feel of your favorite worlds and IPs. Today, we're talking about One Piece. Taylor. Isn't that exciting? We're going to go through our categories of B, base build. What are the core components? R, resonance and vibe. This is where we make our poetic hearts sing. E, extra froth. What's make this task wildly fun? What's the spice or razzle dazzle? W, weird for us. That strange little twist you'd never find on D&D Beyond. Weird for us is going to be an interesting thing for One Piece. That's for sure. And I, inciting quest. Every good campaign needs a reason to leave home and then just kind of keep going and going and going and going and going for like 6,000 episodes. And T, threat level, let's talk danger. Who or what is the big bad and what's their devil fruit and their weird idiosyncratic gimmick today? Taylor, have you watched One Piece?
I, fun fact, have only seen the live action series.
Okay, yes. Okay, I thought that was the case. I've never watched that. I've only watched the anime itself, and I've read some of them. I've read a little bit of the manga, but mostly it was like catching it on like Cartoon Network and other stuff back in the day or whatever it was on. I think it was on Cartoon Network, Toonimation, whatever.
Yeah, it was on Toonami.
Toonami, yeah. Toonami. Whoever came up with the Toonami name, brilliant. Toonami.
Succeeded.
Brilliant.
I will say I've seen, because of Toonami, I have seen the first episode of One Piece about like 10 times and never got past it.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Okay.
Then that's the anime. Again, live action, binged the whole thing, loved it. But the anime only got to the first episode and never got past it.
Well, okay. So we've already revealed ourselves to some of you One Piece fans out there because we're already touching on something that's very big and very important. And we're talking about it because One Piece live action season 2 is coming out. So we're excited to talk about it for that reason. We've already revealed ourselves as not the biggest One Piece fans out there. So we're going to respectfully do as best as we possibly can, but leave some thoughts in the comments, or you can message us on socials and stuff like that if we've missed some key things. This is one of those franchises that if we were to come back, this is one of those things we could come back and do again and again and again. There's so much stuff to talk about in One Piece because there's so much stuff in One Piece. So anyway, Taylor, as we talk about this for a base build of what makes a core One Piece story, what do you think that is? And I think this is a really interesting conversation to me because we've got like an actual, like a creative entity that took thousands of episodes and like across hundreds of seasons and like giant amounts of pages of anime and manga, and then they just condensed it into like 8 episodes. And that was what they thought was essential. So A, do we agree? But also, what do you think is essential?
Yeah, I mean, I can't say if I agree. I mean, I agree because I like it. So that's just a personal opinion. I haven't seen the anime, so I can't really make the distinction of what's missing and what's not. But I will say, as an enticing show and something that literally did a really good job of making me want to go and watch the anime, which a lot of live action versions of anime do not do well. This one did. I will say what I think is like base build, what I think is actually essential is, I mean, two things. One, everybody's got to be a pirate.
Yeah.
Everybody's got to be a pirate. Get all your little D&D hats on. Jump into that book. You better subclass all these little rogue fighter pirates. Make them all, baby. Because goodness gracious, it made me want to be a pirate if I was like 10. Like a jeez. But yeah, I think everybody's gotta be a pirate. No other class exists. I mean, if you really want to do other classes, maybe like, no, I don't even think they should exist. I don't think other classes should exist. I think maybe other species should exist. I think you can get really fun with that, especially because there are like, at least in the first season live action one, there's a whole like bunch of shark people. There's like this clown guy. Like there's all these different things. So species wise, I think you can get really creative, but that's me touching on other letters of our acronym. I would say, yeah, pirates are super, super important as a class, and no other class really matters. I say if any other class matters, you're multi-classing at that point. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But that's like rare instances, and it should be case by case basis for like the character specific. And yeah, that's I had a second thing, but I actually forgot what it was. Probably had to do something with the whimsy of the devil fruits.
Yes,
devil fruits. That was my thing. Is having the devil fruits in there. But maybe getting, well, again, me touching on other letters, maybe getting creative with more than just what's in One Piece. Maybe add more devil fruits because that's more interesting for a one shot. But,
yes. So here's the thing that I want to talk about that I think is the most interesting thing to me in this discussion is I've heard, and I think this is relatively accurate, that like One Piece is the modern day version of Homer as Iliad and Odyssey put together.
Oh yeah,
right. It's like, and I think that's really legit. It is a band of people going on this almost never-ending journey. Almost never-ending journey, and they encounter lots of wild and wacky things along the way, and they have this grand quest overall. But like for the Odyssey, right? Like, are we thinking about all the time, like as you know, Odysseus, his crew gets turned into pigs, about his quest to return home after the Trojan War? Like, no. Not necessarily. I mean, it's in the background, right? And they do have flashback moments where we get to see Telemachus and his wife, like, oh man, I forgot her name. Back in Ithaca, in the Odyssey, they're coming back, and you know we're going to talk about the Odyssey too, for the record. So keep an eye out on that because that's coming out in July, the movie. So we're going to be talking about that at some point. But like, this is the modern day version of that. But by nature, that is an epic drama. It is like so long. Right. And like, I personally, maybe this is just a me thing. If you were like, hey, like, here, solve this thing where all your people get turned into pigs and you have to like rescue them and defeat this evil witch, and you technically are on this long journey to get home, I would be like, well, that doesn't really capture the feel of the Odyssey for me. Right. It would just be like, oh, I'm a small sliver of that. Like if I'm doing a one shot. Now, if we're doing a campaign and that happens on the way for multiple sessions, that's one of the things we do in the multiple sessions, then it's fine. Like we're doing the epic drama build towards the big picture. But for a one shot, I'd be like, all right, well, whatever. You could tell me any random encounter we have and any random book you pull is part of a larger quest to come home, and I'd be like, I guess. You know, so how do we capture that? Like, again, that's one of the things that the live action show seems to have captured for people. Like, I've had people tell me, like, I've never watched One Piece, but now I want to check it out. And like, they're often I've heard this from like their a girlfriend being like, I'm down to watch it, and the boyfriend's like, yes, like we're actually gonna watch this show, right? But like it like that, they did a good job somehow being able to capture the essence of it. Like there's this big journey, like there's this huge journey that happens, and like part of the thing that like one of my friends who's a big One Piece fan says, like, I am so excited about this one detail that I read in the latest issue of this manga. I know it's not going to pay off for like 200 panels or like 200 pages of manga, which is like, it's not going to pay off for 2 years, but I know it's coming. And I'm so excited because I'm always like that. And for me, I'm like, oh my God, you're going to wait 2 years just for this thing. But then I play certain types of video games and other things like that. And that's how I am anyway. And I've read comic books forever. So I understand. But that is like the appeal of it to him is like, like this thing is going to pay off in like 3 years.
Yeah.
Right. And like there's all of these like quote unquote filler arcs which drop little details that actually end up being important later on. And so none of them are truly filler, right? And so how do we do that in a one shot?
Yeah, so we've chatted about this before a little bit about like the place of one shots and how they can actually like be important for creating bigger stories. But I will not rehash that conversation. It was a great conversation, but I will not rehash that conversation now, but more touch on it in the sense that one shots, I think, should feel like a part of a bigger world and a bigger story. They should not, in my opinion, they should not always be open and closed like a short novel. Yes. I think they should feel like a moment in a grand scheme. And I think when you're trying to hit that epicness, when you're trying to hit, it's like a very Lord of the Rings-esque thing to do. It's a very high fantasy thing to do. And I know we're talking about maritime anime, but I think
there's a lot of similarities.
There's so many similarities. I mean, you literally talking about the Odyssey.
Right.
I think if you can create this one shot as a dungeon master to feel like, hey, you are all stepping in, like, even if you start in media res, like we're stepping in from a moment, in the middle of a moment, and then you are completing a part of a journey. And at the end of it, maybe there's a couple details or hints, like you can have someone roll perception checks or roll investigation checks or insight checks to be like, oh, you remember this person from etc. that you've done in the past. And I go, great. Or like, you know this detail because when you were a kid, etc. Like you could pull it up out of nowhere if you want to, or you can just have your players improv that kind of stuff. It's really cool to do that. And then you can even drop little things. Like you were saying, there are some cool things that people love about One Piece that get dropped and then don't pay off for years. You can drop little things as a dungeon master that may be minorly important to this one shot, but feel like they're super important to the journey ahead, you know? And then ending it at a point, not necessarily a cliffhanger, but to end it in a way that's like, and this is where your part of this story ends, guys. And the actual adventure continues on. Things will happen. Wars will be fought. Devil fruit will be eaten. People will punch people with fists with very stretchy skin. And like, that'll be great. But to create this one shot where like, you are not, oh, this is so bad. Monkey D. Luffy, is that his name?
Yep.
Thank you. I almost forgot. But like, you may not be him. You may not be the main characters of the story, but you are a part of making that story continue on is beautiful. And I think makes you get that vibe of like, this is an epic, awesome, long story, and I get to be a small part of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, for example, when we were running one of these one shots, Taylor, in Lord of the Rings, we had them deliver the shards of Narsil to Rivendell, and there was the moment where everybody was running around in the forest and they were trying to cross the river. Someone almost died, right? And as we were like saving that person, we got to see the ring float down the river, and literally one person at the table was like I was like, right? And like, that's what we want, right? We want to be a part of that bigger story. So here's what I would say to answer my own question, though. The other side is to completely give people like, and you've done this as well, right? Go through epic amounts of content very fast, right? Like it's like, okay, you're going to plan 5 pieces of the Odyssey and you're going to hit all 5, and that's going to be our 3 hours, and we're going to go through like a year's worth of time or 2 years worth of time in a short period of time, and that's going to set up interesting things in the future, right? Like you've done this where you had people rule a kingdom and you had them right before they rule and they make a bunch of interesting, important decisions. And then, you smash cut to them like actually rolling and seeing what happened, right? And it's like, ooh, okay. It's like, that's worth your time. It's so interesting to be a part of that. And then it also, of course, encourages people to play more. But that time jump, that amount of narrative significance can make it for an excellent, interesting moment in time. And so as we kind of get to that, right, the base build for me for One Piece is you're on a ship, you're exploring around, you are a pirate, and there's these devil fruits out there. Like, that's pretty simple. And ultimately, like, Luffy's goal is to find the One Piece and become the, like, pirate king, basically, right? And that is not that important for the context of what we are about to do, right? I don't want to get flamed online. Like what we're trying to do right now is we're going to try and have these people join an epic story in like the middle of it and have a small snippet of it, or like have them maybe like in their own fictional world that's not One Piece world, but it's very similar, like have them go through a series of really interesting events to become the equivalent of the Straw Hat Pirates. And you're like, ooh, interesting. Like we've spent some time to assemble the team, right? The two things I would want to figure out then is, do we have interesting exploration and sailing mechanics? And how do we do Devil Fruit? Because Devil Fruit break every single D&D rule out there, right? Like, the ability to eat the fruit and munch on the fruit and turn your whole body into rubber would be like a 4th or 5th level spell. But you can do it all the time. Like and that also breaks the game, right? So like, how would we allow for this outside of using another system, which there are D&D systems and D20 systems that can let you do One Piece. I think there's a One Piece TTRPG system. Like I always think about, 0 Day, you can talk about that. 0 Day is great to run something like this because it's easy to do these types of effects and abilities. But regardless, for D&D, that's what we're focused on. How do we accomplish those two things?
Yeah, I think, I'm about to touch on the Inciting Quest. I think with what we've talked about, you should definitely start in media res. I think starting in the middle of a battle on a ship is great. Just to like figure out those mechanics, get them out of the way. And that's just my personal opinion. But I think when it comes to exploration, it's more fun. I think the whole quest should be trying to find the devil fruit.
Find a devil fruit.
Yeah, I don't think you should be the Straw Hat Pirates. I think you should be a different team of pirates. I think you should know about or hear about them. I think if anything, maybe that might be the final battle, is fighting them for it. But I think it should be to find a devil fruit. So it's not game breaking if somebody having a devil fruit the entire game. But I do think if somebody is going to have it, it should be one person one player should have it. And like you said, you already alluded to it with, the rubber, him being able to change his body is like a 4th level spell. The devil fruit is just like, it's like a spell scroll, but edible. So, like, truly, like, that's what it is. It's just a gummy, like a fruit flavored spell scroll. But being able to consume that and then have that spell in perpetuity is like mechanically what the idea of a devil fruit is. And I would which begs the question of like, or not even the question, but the suggestion, no spells, right? No spells in the game unless you find a devil fruit and you eat it, which makes finding a devil fruit super important. So, and I would say, if anybody's going to have one, make one player and make it something that's so minor, like they ate a devil fruit and now they can cast alarm whenever they want, like something so stupid.
Right.
Yeah. Or if they could prestidigitate.
Okay. So this is a good thing to do too, right? So like, to get the resonance and vibe correct, right? If we're just going to have the thing be a spell scroll, but like a reusable spell scroll, basically, the thing that makes or breaks this, right, is that One Piece is whimsical, weird, and silly. Like, inherently. Like, I mean, the main character's name is Monkey D. Luffy. It's like a weird word, right? It's a weird name. And like, there's like, what's his name? Tony Chopper. Like, they're weird on purpose. Everything is a joke. Like, everything's kind of funny and weird. And like, that is the point, right? And so, like, if the person is who ate the devil fruit has the ability to cast alarm, they should be like literally like they become an alarm clock, like something silly or stupid like that, right? Like, it needs to be that dumb. I would add to your inciting quest, and for if you're a One Piece fan, I would think about your favorite like One Piece one-off One Piece villain who's like silly or funny. Think about their devil fruit. That's the devil fruit your party's going after, and it's the origin of this character, that dumb character, getting the devil fruit in the first place. They're competing over it, and of course they're going to lose because they have to in order for this villain to get the devil fruit. But you should find some other way to make it pay off and satisfying at the same time, or maybe they're paid to go find the devil fruit for this person or whatever, and they encounter somebody else, like insert it into the canon. That's a really fun, easy way to do it in the canon, and then you get to bring some popular character into play while not having to worry about the continuity of the anime or the manga or anything like that. You're going before it ever started. You can do that and like get one of those characters devil fruits, and like that's what you do, etc. That would be a really fun, interesting thing to do. It's like you have to make it so funny, so weird. And that's the most important part. So like when we're talking about extra froth, even, and we're talking about weird for us, like there's the blue-haired like clown with like the big like eyes and a sword, like he's got like 4 swords in his hand, like, and like his fingers are swords or whatever. Like that's the kind of guy I want, you know, like, and I want the like evil anime villain, but obviously henchman voice of like, I'm an evil and I'm here to destroy you because you like I you know, like that kind of voice. Like I want that around. Like those types of things are what is going to make or break it for me.
I agree.
So any other thoughts or feelings on this of One Piece overall?
No, I really love this. I just think if you do it, let us know, because I actually think this would be really fun, and I would love to play something like this.
Absolutely. Okay, so this is actually fairly quick on that front. I would say then, Taylor, let's design like 1 or 2 interesting but niche, like we already have the alarm clock devil fruit. Let's design like 1 or 2 more interesting devil fruits to give some people ideas, and then we'll call it a wrap after there, and I'll do a recap.
Listen, this is just a chance to take all those random spells that don't really do anything and turn them into something crazy.
Into a joke?
Like fly. Like, make one of the devil fruits fly, except the wings sprout out of their head. And now they could fly, but they look crazy. Like, it's a lot of what people should look like, is why I think it's really cool. There's flesh to stone. There's what else? I'm trying to think. I'm like looking through a list of spells right now. Ooh, Goodberry would be fun if their hair turns into a bunch of good berries. I think that'd be kind of funny. And
they can just infinitely eat good berries, and they'll never die. Like you have to overcome their healing factor basically, but it's all good berries.
Exactly. Like you literally have to give them a haircut, and then they will die.
Yeah.
That's very funny. What else? Blight would be fascinating to play with. Chromatic orb would be fascinating to play. Oh my gosh, the way I want chromatic orb to be a devil fruit. And then it's just like it's like a plus size guy with a really big belly. I'm thinking like Buddha. And like the whole belly is just this colorful swirling orb of stuff. And then he could just shoot out things from his belly. That's so fascinating. Wow, I would love chromatic orb to be a devil fruit so bad. Oh my goodness. Insect swarm would be fascinating if you just become a person just is made out of bees. Like that's the whole character is made out of bees now. And it's a swarm of bees.
I really want someone to be a tiny hut. You know?
Oh, that would be so sad though, because I can't move.
Oh yeah. But like I want him to be like the smallest of boyos, like the smallest of boyos. And then they're like, I'm going to defeat you. Are you ready? And then just,
and that's it.
You know, like that's a great one to give a player where they're just like, all right, I can turn into a hut.
That's very funny. Oh my goodness. Yeah, those are all good. I think one of the devil fruits should be invisibility, and you eat it and you're just invisible the whole time for the rest of your life. That's it.
You can't turn it off?
Like the way that like they go, because I'm thinking about, especially in the series, like when they had that moment of showing up to the clown and fighting him and then realizing like, oh my goodness, he can't really die because you cut a piece of his arm off and it still lives. Like it tries to find him. I think the idea of them showing up to an island to fight this bad guy and he's not there. And they're like, what's happening? And then he goes, hey. But he's not like that bad of a guy. He's not like evil necessarily. He's just like, I'm actually behind you and I'm really sad no one can see me. And it's like so sad, but it's so funny. Oh my gosh.
Okay, so like, yeah, 100%. That's so good as an NPC.
Yeah. Oh, I got one of these guys gotta have invisibility as a devil fruit. That might be my favorite one so far.
That's really good. Okay. Well,
Man.
I mean, as you can see, you want the really funny, silly stuff going on here because that's going to be the joy of it. You can run around and sail. I do think for this record, for sailing mechanics and exploration, I think this is a great opportunity to use a random numbered table to generate a bunch of random stuff that happens. But for a one-shot purpose, I would avoid too much unnecessary or random combat. I would instead have the table be like a series of events you want to occur throughout the one-shot, right? And then you just kind of semi-randomly determine what order they in. You're just not as you're not as planned out on what the exact order will be. You can always put limits on that table too to say, okay, this has to happen in these 3 events have to happen in chronological order, but everything else can be semi-random. We'll see what happens. Because most of the time in One Piece 2, it's like big one-on-one showdowns and like it's not like a lot of like, okay, like hundreds of people are fighting now, like not within the core of the story at the very least, you know?
Yeah.
Let's just go for a recap for what we're gonna do. So if we're gonna do One Piece, everyone's gonna be a pirate and we're gonna have them all. You could do this as just like skinning everybody as a pirate. So it's like, oh yeah, you're a fighter, but you're a pirate. Or you could literally do like the swashbuckler rogue class and then just have people multi-class, which is totally fine. Because the real deal of interest is mostly the fun, weird fights and then having some of these weird devil fruits. So weird devil fruits like the chromatic orb devil fruit, which I'm really into. The tiny hut devil fruit that turns into a little tiny hut. And they're just going to treat devil fruits as if they're reusable spell scrolls. And we're going to mostly, for the purposes of our one shot, not choose, like we're not choosing fireball. We're choosing weird stuff over and over. And you can let your players be a little flexible, try to lean into the world of cool if they have cool applications for the spell and the spell scroll / devil fruit. And we're going to, as a basic quest, is be on a quest to find a devil fruit. Find your favorite One Piece villain who's like minor but has a devil fruit, and be on a quest to either acquire that devil fruit for that character or to compete against that character to find the devil fruit in the first place. We suggest this invisible NPC who ate the invisibility devil fruit and it's just completely permanently invisible, can't turn it off because that's just really funny. And ensure regardless that your characters are over the top and the villains are weird because that's gonna make it feel correct. I think the last thing, Taylor, just to kind of wrap us all up, is do you have any suggestions for playing like weird anime character, like over the top anime type character villains?
Unique quirks are more important than anything else. I would say, I think it's easy for us as Dungeon Masters. Our first thing is to go, okay, every character has to have a different voice and every character has to have a thing. That's not always, like, you don't have to be that detailed. Sometimes it's this character has a peg leg and that's all they talk about. And that's funny because if they show up and the only thing they're talking about is, yeah, so I got this peg leg. No, but we need directions, right? So when I got this peg leg, and that's all that's all they talk about. It's very funny and can be also very interesting. Like, find the thing that makes that NPC unique and lean into that. And if that thing is a voice, if it's, hey, this person talks really nasally because they've had a cold for literally 20 years, that's funny. Give that to them, and it's interesting, and it's cool for your characters or for your players to interact with that. Hence the invisibility devil fruit. But also for players, when it comes to like anime, like being this over the top. That's also why I say like people caring a lot about things is a big anime thing. Everybody in anime cares a lot about the thing that they care about, and they will make sure everybody knows that. And they will go to the ends of the earth to make sure everybody knows that. So not just for NPCs, but also for players. Like, in you as a dungeon master leaning into how passionate you are or each NPC is about their thing will encourage the players to also be over the top about the things that they care about. You can tell them to do that, but you first. You have to be fully 100% committed. Yeah.
I think that's such great advice. The quirk is more important than the voice, right?
Yeah.
Because I've had NPCs accidentally be like, yeah, I was just doing the books and I have this special pen I use, and then the players are like, special pen, tell me more, and I'm like, well, it's it's this, and so they just remember that guy as the pen guy, and then they're like, cool, like we come, like we're gonna go, and they buy a special pen for this guy, and he's like, oh, wow, what a gift, and it makes the NPC memorable because of this weird little thing, as opposed to the voice or anything else. Like, that's the sort of stuff that sticks in people's minds, right?
Yeah.
It's why so many of the villains and the characters in One Piece are memorable. Like, they all have those little weird things. So if you have a weird fascination, it's great, right? The peg leg thing, very good. Or like, they're weirdly obsessed in obtaining spam musubi, which we've been craving on for about, right? But like, that's their goal, and they're just asking in the middle of the ocean, do you have spam musubi? And you're like, what?
It's like, why is
no,
this
we don't. It's we're in the middle of nowhere. But like, stuff like that, like being obsessed with random stuff, very fun. And then the thing that I think is more important than your voice is, again, the passion. But what I would specifically say for that is react passionately and emotionally to everything that happens, right? And also, you're gonna have to find a rhythm as a table to do this. But like, it's like, instead of just like, when you roll for combat and it's like, oh, you roll a d20 and you hit with your sword, right? Someone has to go, he used the thing to do this, he oh, like what an amazing technique he just employed, right? Or whatever. Like, you want to do the like, oh my god, big reaction, or and anticipate that sort of stuff. Like, make those types of moments big and reactionary, and have the peanut gallery do the reactions to everything that's going on, or give people the opportunity to, because a couple of people might be very good at it, and then it'll just be very funny. Like, that's like half the reason why like half the characters in like those Toonami animes are just there to react to the main character doing the thing.
Yeah.
Like, there's the classic guys like, oh, I'm calculating this, and I see that this is the opportunity that they have. What an amazing turnaround. Like they're just telling you this is cool, right? But they're all there to react, to say this is cool, And then there's the one character's like, we believe in you, like the power of friendship will make sure we beat this person. It's like you want those things. So react emotionally to what is happening more so than you would in real life, especially because, like, for example, when I play a character, most of the time I'm just locked into the character and I don't react to anything that's happening. And some players are reacting and like, right? They're all surprised with a twist. I never do that. I'm always locked in on my character, much to Taylor's chagrin, But you could do both in the anime world because that's what's allowed, right? It's like, it's part of the fun. So anyway, thanks so much for hanging out with us and for watching this video. If you like and subscribe, you can react to all of us and passionately by liking and subscribing. And check us out and like and subscribe for more content like
Jurassic Park, How to Train Your Dragon, The Princess Bride, Inception, Matrix, Mad Max, Fury Road, John Wick, Ghostbusters, Pokemon, Hunger Games, 28 Days Later.
Hey there, just want to shout out to our patrons. Thanks so much for subscribing on Patreon and supporting the show. Thanks to Count Bubba, Fizz, Fedorva Will, Richard, Varner Jr., and Who's Scruffy Looking.